IVM.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Positively Unlimited podcast. For those of you who are tuning in to this one after a while, or if this is your first episode of the Positively Unlimited podcast, this particular series of A to Z is all about relationships and love life. And today I'm talking about the big R word, romance. This is a word that often causes a lot of fights between couples. Whether you are on a first date or a third date, whether you are just about getting to know each other a few months in, whether you've been in a relationship for a while, whether you are married. Women want romance. A lot of guys are not up for it. Sometimes they feel it's too much effort. There are also some women who have no love for mush. They find anything romantic as being cheesy or it makes them uncomfortable. So, contradictory to the popular notion that romance is something that women want and men don't want to give, that, my friends, is a cliche. It's pretty much a stereotype. But what's with this word and what's with the fight, the push and pull, the tug of war that happens over it? Let me just break the word romance down. Let me simplify the concept. Romance is just actions and gestures that make your partner feel special, that create some kind of excitement in your relationship, that makes your partner feel wanted and loved. It isn't very different from a lot of other stuff that actually happens in a relationship. But this particular word, thanks to pop culture, thanks to the poets and the singers of so many generations, seems to have a special place. It seems to be placed on a mantle in the showcase of love. So today I'm not going to give you a lecture or preach about how one must be romantic or how one must be practical. Instead, I'm going to guide you to figure out your own level of romance. How much of it is okay with you in terms of receiving as well as giving? So first things first, take pen and paper. As always, those of you who've been listening to my podcast always know that a pen and paper must always be kept handy. For those of you who've tuned in for the first time, here's lesson number 1. Keep pen and paper always handy. So on that piece of paper, write down 3 gestures or 3 moments or 3 things that couples do in a relationship that you define as romantic. 3 moments shared between a couple that you define as romance. It doesn't matter whether you are a guy or girl. Once again, romance is not something that only guys are supposed to take initiative on, and women have to be on the receiving end. That is what the books and the fairy tales have taught us. But that is not true. Romance is something that is the responsibility of both people in a relationship because both people like to feel special. Both people like to feel loved and wanted. Now look at your definition of romance, those 3 moments, actions, gestures that you have put down. And on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, rate yourself. How romantic are you as a person? 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. The other thing to remember, when you are rating yourself, you're not rating yourself on how well do you receive romance. This is about how romantic you are. So how open and willing are you to doing romantic gestures, to taking romantic initiative? I mean, are you somebody who will plan a surprise for his partner every weekend? Are you someone who's big on Valentine's Day? Are you someone who loves to buy flowers for your partner or make your partner feel special by leaving love notes in different places? Think about whatever your definition of romance is. Those 3 gestures, those 3 actions you've put down should tell you that. Now rate yourself. How open and willing are you in terms of taking initiative to be romantic? So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. Next, how comfortable are you with accepting romantic gestures? on a scale of 1 to 10. Are you someone who finds it cheesy? Are you someone who finds it mushy? Are you someone who will laugh and dismiss it? Are you someone who will mock your partner because you are feeling uncomfortable? You are not used to accepting so much of love or having the limelight on you. Think about this. On a scale of 1 to 10, how accepting are you of romantic gestures? The next question. What is your usual response to romance? Now, you want to ask yourself this from a couple of angles. The first is when your partner does something romantic, what is your usual response, your reflex response? Immediately, what's the first thing you say or do, right? On the other hand, you also want to ask yourself, when people are talking about relationships, when people are talking about love life and what their partners are up to or what the dating space is like or what their experience has been like, are you someone who talks about things in a romantic way? Does romance actually come up that high in your list of must-haves? Or are you someone who's extremely practical or averagely practical, also wanting a dose of romance? Where are you? What is your usual response in those kind of conversations? Okay, now that you have all these answers down, answer this. What have you learned about yourself? Are you someone who all this while has been demanding romance from your partner or, keeping it really high in your laundry list, for that next relationship? While you are actually someone who doesn't really care that much about romantic gestures and you are way more practical and you have a different way of expressing love and receiving it. Have you been playing into the whole, oh, he or she must be romantic because that's what society has said and that's what all your friends ask for? What have you learned about yourself? Are you someone for whom genuinely romance is very, very high up in priorities? And then also ask yourself this. Whatever you have learned about yourself, are you choosing in alignment with that? Is romance a non-negotiable on your list? And if it is a non-negotiable, have you been aligned to that? Are you choosing according to that, or have you been compromising on it all this while? If you are compromising on it, remember one thing. Whatever you put down in your laundry list, you need to know what are your non-negotiables. And if you are compromising on your non-negotiables, then you will find it very hard to be happy and content in that relationship. If you are wondering about the laundry list part of this conversation, you may want to listen to the episode called Consideration Box. I think it is 127, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, the name of the episode is Consideration Box. If you are single, if you've been in the dating space for a while, if you're struggling to meet the right person, meet the one, maybe you want to listen to that episode and you'll understand what I mean by laundry list. And you'll understand what are the common mistakes that we make. Romance is one of those mistakes that we make on that list. So on that note, I'm going to head out of here and I'm going to hope that you can come to terms with your definition of romance and you have a clear understanding of, whether it's a non-negotiable on your list or whether it is something that's barely important. I hope that you can bring your list of wants and desires into a certain space of balance so that the relationship that you are living or the relationship that you want to create is one that you can thrive in. And on that note, I will catch you in the next episode. And just a quick reminder that all previous episodes are available on the IVM Podcast app and website. Also, you can connect with us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handle is IVM Podcast. And if you have a question about your love life, you can DM me on Instagram. My handle is Positivity Angel. Sending all of you a lot of love.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. another fun week in the books last week, and I think you guys should definitely check out some of the shows that we did. So first, let me tell you about Cock and Bull. We did 2 Cock and Bulls on Cyrus Says last week, which is, I don't think we've ever done before. But there was just so much to talk about, and it was fun. The first one was just on Trish, myself, and Cyrus. The second one, we had Abhijit Ganguly on, and that was a great episode. Do check that out. Check out Know Your Kanun as well. It's been a while since I spoke about that show, but Amber's been doing a great job on it. This week he spoke to Naina Sharma, a Canadian lawyer, about the ways that you do business in Canada and the challenges that presents. Definitely very interesting stuff. Do check that out. The guys at Naan Curry are doing some really, really fun stuff. Do check out their latest episode. They talk about roti, the simple bread, but it's got some complications to it. Let them tell you about what they are. Do check that out. Also, do definitely check out the Wire Talks with Siddharth Bhatia. He's been killing it, man. It's just a new show, but what great conversations. This week, he had Siddharth Singh on to talk about pollution. Do check that out. And you know what, guys? The best news of all, Simplified is back. They've been back for a few weeks and I haven't called them out before, but remember that they're back and do check them out. This week, they talk about, does censorship make sense? Knowing the guys, I think I know the answer to that, but you should go check that out. And with that, I hope to see you again next week.
पेश खिदमत है आपकी शान में हमारे अंजुमन से. Hi, I am Sadaf.
And I'm Arshit. खाने का इतिहास, economics, policy, psychology, सब है मेन्यू पे.
Only on the Naan Curry podcast every Wednesday, सिर्फ IVM podcast ऐप या वेबसाइट पर, या फिर जहां से भी आप अपने पॉडकास्ट सुनते हो.